What is going on, everyone? It's Greg here from Project Unbroken, and today we're going to be talking about the topic how I went from being a broke heroin addict to a multimillionaire. Now, I almost didn't shoot this video because I don't love the title. I don't want people to think I'm bragging about the financial success I've had. But after talking to my partner Matt, he's made me realize that this is something that could get Project Unbroken a lot of attention, where it could, in the end, help a lot of people who are struggling, specifically with addiction, but really any struggle in life. We think what we share can help people. So I decided to do the video. I'd much rather this video be about, how I went from being unhappy to happy, an unhappy heroin addict to being truly healthy and happy. But I come from an online marketing background, and I understand that that's just not going to get as much attention. So just to give you an inside look at the title, it is what it is because that's what's going to get the most attention. All right, but we're going to be also talking about a lot about happiness and health because that's, I think, even more important than the money thing. We'll get into that all, though, as well. So let's get started. I came up, I'll give you a very short version. You can get more on Project Unbroken about me if you want. But normal upbringing, middle-class family, played a lot of sports, very active, very healthy. A little bit of drinking and smoking in high school. I got out of high school, smoked more, drank more, got into pills. Eventually, that led to heroin. Got into a heroin addiction for a few years. Ended up getting on methadone to get off the heroin, which is just as bad in some people's eyes and probably even harder to get off. And then eventually, I got off the methadone, and I've been off that for about almost 5 years now. And in that time, of course, I built a very successful business, a couple of different businesses, but one that's very successful, others I'm working on. So how did I do it? Well, one of the big things that I changed was my mindset and the way that I looked at things. When I was coming out of my heroin addiction, I was on the methadone, I think I felt bad for myself. It was a pity party. Poor me. Going back, actually in 05, 06, as I was kind of getting into my addiction, I actually started a business as well, an online business, and it started doing pretty well. I made a couple $100,000. It was getting pretty successful, and then of course my addiction took over and went through all the money, of course, and fell out of the business. But the big thing that changed for me was my mindset. Okay, and again, I stopped feeling bad for myself. And I stopped throwing a pity party. And I realized that I'm the one that needs to start making changes, and I'll get deeper into this. It all happened, I remember the specific moment when I found out my son was on the way. He's now 6 years old. He just turned 6 a few days ago. Happy birthday to Bryson. So this happened about 6.5, 7 years ago, where this major kind of light bulb moment happened. So I found out my son was on the way, and I said, okay, I need to start analyzing my life, and because I'm not happy. I'm about to bring a child into the world, and I'm not going to bring him into a shitstorm. So let me analyze my life. Let me take a deeper look, and let's find out what I don't like about my life that's going on right now. So the first thing I identified that I did not like about my life was that I was on methadone still. I was on 105 milligrams. I was taking it every day. I wasn't using drugs, but methadone kind of makes you feel like a zombie. Like, you don't feel great on it. It's just not healthy. It's not something that that I would want around my child. I don't want him to know I'm on it. I don't want him to know anything about that life. I don't want him to see anything like that. So I don't like that I'm on the methadone. So I need a plan in place to get off this shit, and I need to implement that plan. So I went and talked to my counselor. Again, I was on 105 milligrams, and I put a plan in place where I was going to come off a milligram a week. So it took me about 2 years to detox. I put the plan in place. I implemented the plan. I got off the methadone. Okay, so that was the number one thing that I identified didn't like about my life. I don't like being on this methadone shit. I want to get off it. Number two, now we're going to start talking about the money thing. I didn't like living from paycheck to paycheck, struggling with money. And it's just because of my personality. To me, I never really cared about making millions. Making like as much money as I could, that's not my goal. My thing, when I looked at problems in my life, making the money had to do with getting rid of problems that not having money caused, right? So I think that's the key point. Not having money causes a lot of stress and unhappiness in my life. So I need to make enough money to take care of those problems. All right. So for me, it was I don't give a shit about making millions of dollars. That's not it. I care about being happy, right? And I know that I'm unhappy when I'm constantly worrying. That's just the way I am. I'm a deep thinker. I think ahead. I'm a planner. And when I have to live paycheck to paycheck and worry about, especially when I have a son on the way, what if something happens to him and I can't afford it? I think ahead like that. So day by day, I'm just not happy. I'm constantly worrying. What would get rid of this worry? More money, right? I don't need to make millions of dollars. I ended up doing that, but I need to make enough money where this is not a problem. Okay, so I put my plan back in place. I need to start figuring out how to make more money. Now, luckily for me, I had the previous experience with the online business, but you don't need that, okay? All you need is to realize the opportunity that we have today. We have an opportunity with the internet that has never been here before, okay? We have the best opportunity that has ever existed. You have the opportunity to get on a computer with an internet connection and reach 3 billion people. Not only that, but you have the opportunity to build a business with virtually no investment. 20 years ago, you had to buy a building or rent a building. You had to stock. You had to get all your inventory. You had to worry about employees. And then on top of that, you had limited traffic. It's just who's in that area, right? Now it's like your traffic is unlimited. You have as much traffic as you want. You can reach 3 billion people. You can start your business. You don't need a building. You can start your business with time. You can invest your time, okay? So that's a side note where I realized that, and I realized the opportunity of the internet, and I started putting my plan in place. So my normal schedule before I realized this, I realized it before I said I need to change this, was I would get up at 3:30. I would go to my morning day job at 4 a.m., work till noon, and I'd just come home and kind of fuck around. I was lazy. I would just lay on the couch, watch TV, and do nothing. So I'm like, all right, I have the time. Even if I didn't, I would have done it anyways because I was unhappy. And, when you want to change something, you got to be willing to do whatever it takes you got to be willing to sacrifice temporarily for long-term success, all right? And that brings me to another point that I realized that I learned from my addiction. So something also you can learn from you don't have to go through a heroin addiction to learn this. I learned that instant gratification does not pay off in most cases. So what do I mean by that? What I learned in my drug use is that I was falling victim to instant gratification, right? So I would sniff the heroin, I would feel great for an hour, and then I would start going down, okay? And I would not feel good for a long time if I didn't use. Go back to using the heroin, I feel good for an hour, then I don't feel good for a long time, and it's ruining my fucking life, right? So that's instant gratification. Yeah, you feel good for an hour, then you ruin your life. Is that trade-off worth it? Is it worth it to feel good for an hour here and there to start ruining your life? Absolutely not. But as people, especially in today's world where everything is instant, you got on-demand movies, you got fast food everywhere, people want what they want now, and you got to be aware of that. And you got to be aware that usually the things that would satisfy you right in this moment isn't what's going to help you long term. So that's something big that my drug addiction taught me, even more so than I may have known before, was that instant gratification does not pay off. So would have been easier to go home from my job and sit on the couch and just do nothing. Of course, that sitting on the couch would have felt great at the time, but long term, I'm still in this cycle of not being happy because I don't, of not the problems that not having money is causing and everything else. So I'm going to sacrifice. I'm going to get up off my ass. I'm going to put in the work, and that's what I did. I would get home from my job at about 12:30 in the afternoon. I would work till 9 o'clock at night, all day, all night. I would work. The days I didn't work, I'd be working all day, all night, and I started building my business, okay? So I stopped feeling sorry for myself. I realized that instant gratification doesn't pay off, and I started putting in the work. And within a year, I had made over $1 million. Now, my previous experience with internet, when I started in 05, 06, I worked for a good year and a half, maybe even 2 years where I made nothing. So I put in a whole lot of time before, so that, working a year and making over $1 million may not be typical, but it doesn't matter. I would put in 5 to 10 years of work to set up the whole rest of my life if I had to. That's a small sacrifice. It's sacrificing a smaller amount for a longer term goal. Okay, and I wasn't unhappy when I was sacrificing, because I enjoyed the work, because I knew in my head that it was progressing my goal of being happy. Yeah, and that goal was to make more money, to eliminate the problems that not having money was causing. Again, it's really important to understand it wasn't never about making a lot. I don't give a shit about making a lot of money. I give a shit about making money to get rid of problems that not having money causes. It's a big difference. I don't buy nice shit. I walk around everywhere in pajama pants and slippers. Anyone that knows me knows that's the truth. My whole wardrobe is probably under $1,000, so I don't care about the money. I don't buy nice things. I don't flash my money. It's not about that. It's about the security and getting rid of problems that not having money creates. Okay, so that's really the base of what I did. I changed my mindset and I put in the work, and I realized that instant gratification does not pay off. Okay, it really doesn't, and that goes with everything. Of course you want to find a balance in life, but it really does go with everything. A candy bar would be great right now, but I know that in an hour I'm going to sugar crash and start feeling kind of grumpy. So is it worth it? You got to decide that. You got to be the person that decides where your balance is. Okay. And that's another thing. You got to consider that everyone's different, and life is a balancing act. When I built my business, I made other sacrifices. Okay. So you got to analyze your life and see where you want what. One of the things that I sacrificed was personal relationships. I don't have a lot of close friends. But for me, I'm an introvert. I don't need a lot of close friends. So it works for me. I'm okay with staying home by myself, building my business, and only having a couple close friends. I'm okay with that because I'm an introvert. Maybe you're an extrovert who needs a whole lot of friends. You need a whole lot of close friends. That's great. If that's what makes you happy, you need to focus on that. Put your work into that. Who gives a shit about the money? Maybe not having the money stuff, maybe that doesn't stress you out. So that's not your problem. If your problem is, that I don't have enough close friends because you're extrovert, you need more friends, put your time into going out, meeting more people, and building relationships. This isn't about making a ton of money. And I know that maybe now the title of the video is a little deceiving, but really in the end, it's about being happy, and for some people, having a whole bunch of close friendships is what makes them happy. So the big secret that I did was I analyzed my life. I found out what was making me unhappy, and I put plans in place to change those things, and I implemented the plan. Okay. And a big part of implementing is constantly reminding myself that instant gratification does not pay off. So although, I'd rather maybe be out with a friend this night, I'd rather be watching my favorite show at this point, it's not going to help me long term. Let me make this short-term sacrifice to benefit long term. All right. So that's one of the big things I realized. Also, another big thing, once I got my business in order, I realized that I wasn't happy about my health. I didn't like the way I looked. I didn't necessarily like the way I felt. The money problems were starting to go. The methadone was going. That was good. But now I got to start analyzing more. I don't like where my health is. Luckily, I ran into Matt, who's my partner on Project Unbroken, and he has a gym, and he got me in there, and I started transforming my health. Let me show you some pictures. So just to give you an idea, this picture was when I was on methadone. This is what I look like pretty much on heroin. I'm 5'5", 180 pounds. In this picture, I'm 5'5". Still, I've been trying to grow for the past 15 years. It's not happening, but obviously I'm still 5'5" in this picture, and I'm about 150 pounds, so about 30 pounds less, but a big, obviously, difference in muscle tone and all that. So that's, physical transformation. That's what's possible. Anything is possible. That's what I want you to understand here. But what's even more impressive that you can't see is what the change that went on here in this picture to right here. And you guys can't see it, but this brain on this side thinks totally different than this brain on this side. This is a highly improved brain. My old brain kind of looks like this. My new brain kind of looks like this, And that was a process also of changing my diet, working out and getting my health in order, okay? So that's one of the big things that I've also changed is my health. You know, I realized once I got rid of the methadone and I got my business in order, I realized I didn't like where I was at with my health. So guess what? I fucking put in the work and I changed my health. You know, I was in the gym busting my ass every day. I kept it up. I kept that consistency going. Yeah, there was mornings where I woke up and I didn't want to go, but you know, once you get to the gym, you put in the sacrifice, then you got the long-term benefit. It would be easier to sit in bed, but what is sitting in bed going to do for me long-term? Nothing. And that's kind of the way that I consistently look at stuff. Something that really drug addiction, again, taught me a lot about. Instant gratification, usually not a good thing, all right? Excuse me. So that is kind of and actually, just to show you, so here's after 6 months even. So for those of you who are maybe out of shape, unhappy with how you look, how you feel, this is what's possible in just 6 months. And I didn't even change my diet at that point. This was just working out. If I changed my diet at the same time, the transformation could have been even greater. I just didn't start my diet stuff till later on, maybe a couple years in. But for anyone who's maybe out of shape, unhealthy, not happy with the way they look or feel, you can see results very quickly if you just show up every day. All right, so that's very important to understand. So hopefully this video was inspirational to you. You know, I want you guys to understand that anything is possible. Also realize the opportunity that's out there. You know, if you're more into the money thing, then, you know, I'm obviously more into the health and happiness. I think you can see that. But if you're more into the money thing for whatever reason, you got to understand the opportunity that's in front of you with the internet. You know, you got the chance to reach 3 billion people and the opportunity to start a business with virtually no money if you want. Of course, if you invest money into online businesses, it can make it easier, but you can do it with very little to no investment. You can. It's just going to take a lot more time, all right? So you got to find that balance there. So hope you all enjoyed this video. Again, projectunbroken.com if you want more information about us. Facebook, projectunbroken.com or facebook.com/projectunbroken. Just start our Instagram as well, instagram.com/projectunbroken. We talk a lot about, you know, addiction, but we're also going to be talking a lot about health and, you know, getting out of struggles. You know, a lot of this stuff for addiction correlates to getting out of a struggle, which is really important, you know, for happiness in the long term. All right. So I hope you all enjoyed this video. Please comment. Let me know what you think. Did I do a good job? I didn't plan this video out. I had no plan. I kind of just ranted. So hopefully it was good and hopefully it can help you in some way. And yeah, I would love to hear your feedback and I'll see you all soon.